Hey, Chi.
Hey Guy, good to see you. Where are we right now?
So we're at the Hospital for Tropical Diseases.
So what's so special about this place?
The Hospital for Tropical Diseases is a 550-bed hospital just for infectious diseases. It's probably one of the largest infectious disease hospitals in the world.
And?
And it's where OUCRU is. So come with me.
Wow, that's a huge building. What's in here?
So this is OUCRU. This is OUCRU's home. There are about 300 people working in here. We're part of the Hospital for Tropical Diseases. Let's go. Hey, Yui.
Hi.
What are you up to?
I'm doing some DNA extraction for Klebsiella pneumonias for whole genome sequencing. That is resistant to Cap Vietnamese and colistin. That we collected from the Hospital for Tropical Diseases.
So this is the enemy, really, isn't it? And I think it's really useful to have a look at the enemy in the eye every morning, don't you think?
Yeah, this is true enemies. This is my motivation for my research, and that's why I have spent so many years to try to understand them.
Are there any machines to help improve the efficiency of your work?
Well, there are, yes, and that's whole genome sequencing. So I think we should go and have a look at that facility now. Should we go, Yui?
Yeah, sure.
Let's go. So Yui, this is one of our MySeq Illumina sequences. What are you doing with it here?
So I'm working on a whole genome sequencing of Klebsiella pneumonias. So not only is we are doing the sequencing for drug-resistant bacteria, but also for emergent viruses, parasites as well.
Yeah, so those two things are really important for OUCRU's research. So emerging infectious diseases, drug-resistant infections, and the ability to sequence is really, really important to be able to understand how the bugs cause disease, but also how they spread around the communities.
I've heard that there are some really special labs here at OUCRU.
There are. There's the Biosafety Level 3 laboratory and the SAPO 4 laboratory. Some of the only labs like this in Vietnam, so we ought to go and have a look at them.
Wow, this looks like a highly secure place. So what really goes on in here?
So this is for very dangerous pathogens and for dangerous animal viruses, and there really aren't any laboratories like this in the rest of the country.
Can we go in?
No, you can't go in there, I'm afraid. You've got to have special training to be able to get in there, which is something that OUCRU invests a lot of time in doing.
Since we are in a hospital, do these research go to the field?
There's a really strong link between these laboratories and the hospital. The labs are here because of the patients. So at this point, I think we need to go and speak to Dr. Ian and see the hospital.
Hi, Dr. Yin.
Hi.
Tell us a little bit more about you.
Yeah, I am Lâm Minh Yến. I have been working with emerging infection group of OUCRU from 2016.
So where are we now?
Now I am in front of ICU department of Hospital for Tropical Disease.
Can we go in and take a look?
Not before you get the proper protection. Dr. Quang Minh will show you inside in the ICU.
Are there any new features being added to the ICU recently?
So OUCRU provide a wearable machine where so we can monitor the patient and many modern ICU beds.
In the COVID-19 pandemic, many OUCRU professors still give us some idea about the treatment for the patients. They still organize many case report presentations with us. They still have us with doing some research from the data in the computer. So OUCRU is still a very important collaborator with us.
Is this the same impact across the country and region?
Yes, so you can talk with my colleague in National Hospital for Tropical Disease.
All right. Hanoi is the capital of Vietnam. So that's where all the decisions are made and where all the politicians are. And we felt it was important for our research to have a presence here in Hanoi, to be able to work with national hospitals, with national public health institutes, and to have a proximity to the Ministry of Health and to policymakers there.
Hey Thomas, you look all wrapped up.
Yes, it's winter here in the north.
Does that increase the incidence of infectious disease?
It does. The cold and humid weather favors the respiratory tract infections. So there are more community-acquired pneumonia in the hospital those days, and also people take more antibiotics. So it's the high season for antimicrobial resistance.
Wow, that's really impressive.
Thank you. Actually, the unique thing about OUCRU Hanoi is that we have clinical research at the hospital, we have lab-based research, we have the epidemiology, and we have the public health arm.
So what do you guys focus on here?
Our research activities range from improving surveillance, improving diagnostic, to designing control intervention for hospitals, but also for the community. We also have some whole genome sequencing of multi-drug resistant bacteria, like, for example, you have here some results of a cluster of resistance Neisseria gonorrhea that has been identified in Vietnam.
Oh, are the research conducted only in the cities?
Not all of them. We also work in the rural areas in collaboration with the provincial CDCs, for example, in Nam Dinh and Hanam province.
Is the situation different in the south of Vietnam than in the north?
There are some cultural and behavioral differences indeed, but it's certainly not as diverse as what you can see in Indonesia, for example. Maybe Kevin can tell you more about it.
Hey Kevin, this building looks historic. What's the story here?
The medical faculty in this building can trace its origins back to 1858. The building itself dates to 1922. This is the Faculty of Medicine of the University of Indonesia. You can see the history in this facade, but look at the buildings behind it. Those towers are IMERI, the Indonesia Medical Education and Research Institute. Those buildings embody the ambition of that faculty for their future in biomedical research.
So where are we right now?
This is the Universities of Indonesia and Oxford Clinical Research Laboratory. We've been collaborating with this faculty since 2008, the very beginning. But in 2017, we opened this facility to support our many mutually collaborative clinical trials together. So let's have a look.
Hi, my name is Arif Arial Sam. I'm Professor of Internal Medicine, and I was currently appointed as the Dean of Faculty of Medicine, South Indonesia, for the second term.
Hello, Dean Ari. Can you tell me more about the collaboration?
With collaborations, our students can participate in OUCRU research project. It is very important experience for them for their career in the future.
Yes, and not just OUCRU, but the entire system. We have a very large hospital full of patients. We have an energized medical faculty. We have bright medical students and a superb research facility. That's the system I'm referring to, and that's the future of medical research in Indonesia. It's in one location, synergies for everybody there, including, importantly, the patients.
How does this amazing synergy get reflected across the whole of OUCRU?
Well, before COVID, we did visit each other and we understood how each of us worked, but we worked differently because of the different problems and settings each of us faced.
But with COVID, we were forced to deal with the same infectious disease together at the same time.
Yeah, it was a great opportunity for us to sync up. We found new ways to work with each other more efficiently.
We were able to shift resources, money, reagents, people, to where they were needed when they were needed.
So basically, it drove a point home. We are located in the two Southeast Asian countries with the largest and most diverse populations, with Nepal working the South Asian region.
If we can address questions in these populations, then we can certainly address questions across the whole of Asia.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me okay? If you cannot, please drop the message in the chat box so that we can see it. Yeah, it seems like the sound is okay. So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome you to the OUCRU Open Day in 2026. My name is Kim, and I'm the Academic Training Coordinator at the Ho Chi Minh City-based OUCRU. I'm going to give you a brief overview of the event, walk you through the agenda, and introduce OUCRU and our PhD training program. Each year, we host this open day to share more about who we are, what we do, and more information about our PhD training program and scholarships. Through the event, we aim to create more opportunities to connect with talented candidates for our PhD projects and other research positions. OUCRU, which stands for Oxford University Clinical Research Unit, was first established in 1991 and hosted by the Hospital for Tropical Diseases in Ho Chi Minh City. In the very beginning, we were just a malaria research unit, but we have significantly expanded over time. Currently, we have 10 research groups along with several supporting departments. We also have sister units in Jakarta and Nepal. Our work primarily focuses on biomedical research and clinical trials. In addition to research, we prioritize and focus on building capacity for local human resources. OUCRU offers opportunities for young researchers in Vietnam, Indonesia, and Nepal through the International PhD Training Program. So let me walk you through today's agenda. We begin with a 10-minute video about OUCRU, giving you a glimpse into your journey and our journey and impact. Next, Dr. Lee Jones, our regional academic training leader for OUCRU and MORU, will provide an overview of the OUCRU PhD program. Following that, we'll hear short presentations from representatives of OUCRU Hanoi, OUCRU Indonesia, and OUCRU Nepal, and 10 OUCRU research groups and the clinical trial unit. Then we'll lighten things up with a fun poll. After the poll, we'll show a video highlighting OUCRU's culture and training environment. Then Dr. Edward Sutanto and Ms. Ngô Huỳnh Chi, two of our current PhD students, will share their personal journeys and experiences in the program, so you can get a real feel for what it's like to be part of OUCRU. And finally, we'll wrap up with a Q&A session. So to ensure everybody can hear clearly, you will be muted during the session. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat box. I'll do my best to answer them, and Dr. Lee Jones will also address them during the Q&A session at the end. So let me hand over to Dr. Lee Jones.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name's Lee Jones, and I'm here to continue through the agenda that Kim has so kindly introduced. And we're going to start with another short video, this time about the history of the OUCRU programme. So sit back and enjoy.
OUCRU Vietnam started as an offshoot of the Thailand unit, but today OUCRU has developed and established its foothold as a crucial regional research hub in infectious diseases, bridging the gap between research and treatments all over the world. What have we done? How do we do it? And what will OUCRU continue to focus on in the next 5 years?
In 1990, Professor Nicholas White and his team visited the Hospital for Tropical Diseases, then known as Centre of Tropical Diseases, based in Ho Chi Minh City. The team was impressed by the hospital's infrastructure and its medical talent, as well as a diverse patient population which provided a good sample size for research and clinical trials to take place. This prompted them to get started on establishing the unit here in Vietnam, and they successfully did so in January 1991. With Dr. Deborah Waller as the first director of the organisation. The new unit was named Wellcome Trust Clinical Research Unit. Operating out of small makeshift laboratories, The team focused extensively on malaria and tetanus research, two major diseases which at that time plagued Vietnam with more than 1 million cases each year. By May 1991, the unit launched a groundbreaking trial for severe malaria, which impacted future treatments for malaria worldwide.
A double-blind, randomized controlled trial of artemether versus quinine in severe falciparum malaria. It was the first of its kind to be conducted in Vietnam, and it was 5 times bigger than any trials that had been done.
The hospital want to reduce the mortality of the hospital, and we focus on malaria because that is the highest mortality. I remember at that time, 40% of severe malaria were there.
It assured the Wellcome Trust, back then, that the unit was a worthy venture.
With the foothold solidified, the unit continued to expand under Professor Nick Day's leadership. Professor Jeremy Farrar later took over as director of the unit in 1996. As the unit progressed, it was renamed the Oxford University Clinical Research Unit in 2002. In 2003, Professor Jeremy Farrar appealed to Wellcome and the Department of Health of Ho Chi Minh City to fund a new building. The new building allowed the unit to expand its breadth of research and also enabled integration of some of the diagnostic labs of the hospital. This further solidified the partnership with the unit's host.
With the laboratory nearby the clinics, it's really a good idea that the optimum condition for the clinical research. So after 2003, the staff from the hospital and the staff from the unit have the opportunity to work together in the same building. There are the routine laboratory in the hospital where we analyze the sample from the patient. Then in next door, there are the laboratories for the academic research.
The new building in Ho Chi Minh City was not the only expansion that Jeremy Farrar had initiated. In the same year, OUCRU also expanded beyond Southeast Asia into Kathmandu, Nepal.
So our main focus right from the start has been one very common disease called typhoid fever, which is common all over South Asia. And we have performed burden of typhoid fever, vaccination studies, treatment studies.
In 2005, OUCRU launched the PhD program with affiliations to Open University and the University of Oxford. This supported the education of many local scientists from Vietnam, Indonesia and Nepal. Many of the PhD graduates have risen to the tops of their fields, with some continuing to work with OUCRU. By setting up the Hanoi unit in 2006, OUCRU established its presence in the capital of Vietnam and began to contribute to healthcare policy on a national level by actively engaging with policymakers. Further extending its impact into the region, OUCRU branched into Jakarta, Indonesia in 2008.
Indonesia, it's unique in a number of different respects. Very large population, large and diverse territory in terms of ecologies, habitats. Indonesia also happens to have quite high burdens of infectious diseases. So we are constantly trying to improve those therapies and improve the survival rate of those patients.
Current director Guy Thwaites was appointed in 2013, leading the team into the new era of digital transformation, seeking to improve clinical care and Vietnam's public health system with a smart use of technology. Under his leadership, OUCRU also extended its understanding of infectious diseases into the community, strengthening epidemiology, social science, and public engagement.
As director of OUCRU, it's my duty to ensure that we conduct research that is locally relevant and important, but is done to an international standard and has global impact.
2019 saw great breakthroughs from Nepal in typhoid conjugate vaccine development, together with the Oxford Pediatrics Vaccine Group. The outcomes of this study received recommendations from the World Health Organization, prompting a policy change in Nepal with regards to the administration of typhoid treatments. And that's not all. The COVID-19 pandemic brought together all units of OUCRU in one of the largest multinational COVID treatment trials in 2021, the recovery trial.
So bringing recovery here was a tremendous advantage because we were able to evaluate therapies that were relevant in an Indonesian context. And also, it introduced our ethics committees here and our food and drug regulators to this new way of doing trials that COVID demanded we do.
Recovery, we've got the highest rate of enrollment. And what the whole study, the whole process taught us was that, we need to widen our vision. Just the fact that we could look at new collaborations within the country and how to actually work on new collaborations.
Having taken part in recovery, it means that OUCRU is at the forefront of responding to further pandemics.
With numerous achievements over 30 years, OUCRU strives to continue to build its capacity to achieve its vision of having local, regional and global impact on health by leading a locally driven research program on infectious diseases in Southeast Asia.
Vietnam faces global health challenges, whether that is tuberculosis, pandemic, or antimicrobial resistance. OUCRU is a world-class research facility which can meld research with practice and help Vietnam to deliver top quality health at an affordable price for the Vietnamese society.
Not many organizations can facilitate a multinational collaboration and consistently produce very high quality results which have enormous impact both nationally and globally on real world problems. If we've learned something in the past 2 years, it's that infectious diseases are very important, and especially in and from Southeast Asia.
We're working on so many infectious diseases, doing such high quality research, which are then translated into treatment guidelines around the world.
It has significantly shaped and influenced the infectious disease research agenda, not just in Vietnam, but in the Southeast Asia.
OUCRU has a unique model of doing research on infectious diseases while building capacity in terms of infrastructure and human resources, a bit like a planting of an orchard. I think OUCRU has shown the value of a long-term investment.
To me, being a part of the OUCRU means I have an opportunity to fulfill my passion in a scientific endeavor.
Being in OUCRU means that I'm surrounded by high-level scientists.
I want to become a role model for the next generation of scientists in Vietnam. I want to inspire them to do science.
My vision for OUCRU Nepal is to be able to be a window onto the South Asian region in terms of doing important clinical trials. Although we will be independent, we will still work together with Vietnam and with the other countries in the region.
In the next 10 years, OUCRU in Indonesia will be more globally impactful. It will be more locally relevant.
Investing in the long term, empowering rising talents, local talents, and this continuous evolution allowed OUCRU to make a major contribution to the prevention and treatment of emerging infectious diseases. So I can't think of a better place really to invest in clinical research.
I want OUCRU to be a model of equitable international collaboration, conducting research that has a global impact on health.
And I hope you enjoyed that video, everyone, and welcome again to our virtual or digital open day. Just to remind you, my name's Dr. Lee Jones. I'm the Regional Academic Training Leader for OUCRU and also our other sister programme, MORU. Just a reminder that OUCRU's vision really is to have local, regional and global impact on health, and we do this by leading a locally driven research programme on infectious diseases in South and Southeast Asia. We have 4 units. The first unit, as you were introduced to in the video, is OUCRU in Ho Chi Minh City, which is based at the Hospital for Tropical Diseases. HTD is the referral hospital for all infectious diseases in the south of Vietnam, an incredibly busy hospital indeed. Our clinical laboratory building is exclusively funded by the Vietnamese government, and in this laboratory building we have the home of OUCRU, but also the home of the hospital laboratories. Currently at OUCRU Ho Chi Minh City, we have 280 staff and collaborators. And our OUCRU researchers, while they work very closely with HTD, we also collaborate with many other hospitals and universities in the south of the country. Our second office in Vietnam is OUCRU Hanoi, which is situated at the National Hospital for Tropical Diseases. This hospital treats over 4,000 patients every year under the direct supervision of the Ministry of Health. A smaller unit, OUCRU, has now 51 staff members, and sitting in the seat of government in Hanoi, it's important that our OUCRU researchers, of course, collaborate with many hospitals and institutes across northern Vietnam, having influence on policy wherever possible and trying to improve the health of the population of Vietnam. They work closely with NEHE and a number of other hospitals and institutes in the north. We also have a very large unit in Indonesia, in Jakarta, which is hosted by the University of Indonesia. OUCRU Indonesia specialises in bench-to-bedside research to improve health in the country. It is a large unit. We now have 295 staff members working at OUCRU Indonesia. And then beyond Southeast Asia, we have an office in Nepal, in Kathmandu, that's OUCRU Nepal, which is hosted by the National Academy of Medical Sciences. In this office, they focus on healthcare priorities in Nepal, and there are 53 staff members working up there. Research across the entirety of the OUCRU programme is very diverse. We work on a number of pathogens. In the video, they mentioned COVID-19. We were very active during the pandemic in conducting research into COVID-19. But historically, we've also worked on malaria, we work on dengue, tuberculosis, a number of zoonotic infections, emerging infections of all kinds, with also a strong cross-cutting theme focusing on antibiotic resistance. In order to conduct this research into these pathogens, we have experts crossing a number of diverse disciplines, from clinical trials to immunology, epidemiology, mathematical modelling, social science, and everything in between. So we should have something for anyone that's interested in working on infectious diseases. Our PhD studentship programme is something that we're very proud of at OUCRU. And every year we offer opportunities for talented Vietnamese, Indonesian and Nepalese students and clinicians to enrol in a 4-year training programme. And this is a fully funded studentship. Successful applicants will be registered with universities in the UK, either at our partners in the University of Oxford, where you see a lovely picture here of one of our recent students at her matriculation. And then on the right-hand side, you see a number of our students from OUCRU and MORU joining the Open University postgraduate conference a couple of years ago. Regardless of the unit in which you're based, your research would focus on infectious diseases relevant to OUCRU and the Southeast Asia region. And this fellowship covers supervision and training. We have UK university fees included, support for periods of overseas training and conference travel, and a salary or stipend. Until now, and from 2000, when we first started enrolling PhD students, we have now graduated 149 students from our programme. At the present time, we have 50 PhD students conducting their PhD research. And during the PhD, beyond the research and the PhD projects themselves, we support our PhD students with a number of in-house training courses. These training courses cover practical skills, so some common courses conducted include qualitative research methodologies or biostatistics, as well as a host of others. But we also support the development of our students in improving their transferable skills. So these transferable skills can include scientific writing, time management, how to present your science, how to manage your project, and a number of other topics. We also support our students' development by hosting career events and also greatly encourage our students to take part in public engagement activities. We are closely linked with our sister programme, OUCRU, which is based out of Thailand, Bangkok. And every year we get the student population from both programmes together to take part in an annual OUCRU student conference. This gives our students a fantastic opportunity to network with each other, share aspects of their journey, and also participate in training skills sessions. But one of the highlights of our student calendar every year is our 3-minute thesis competition, where our students compete to present their thesis in just 3 minutes to a non-scientific audience. And the best talks are provided with travel awards and some lovely trophies. So you can see here from this year we have, or from last year should I say, our 3 winners who represent a number of the units across OUCRU and OUCRU. So for those of you on the call who are interested, and I hope there's many of you interested in doing a PhD, how do you apply? Well, first off, you need to understand the eligibility criteria. So you must have a high-level degree in a related subject, either a bachelor's or a master's, or you're a medical doctor. You must have an English score of IELTS 7 or equivalent. There are opportunities to apply for a waiver if you have conducted your previous degree qualifications in an English-speaking country, and that can be discussed separately. The programme is open to Vietnamese, Indonesian and Nepalese nationals. We do expect those nationals to apply for the projects based in their country of nationality. The applications process starts in September 2026. Our predetermined projects will be advertised on the University of Oxford Nuffield Department of Medicine website. This is also directly linked from our own website, OUCRU.org. The application deadline is December 2026, so you have a few months to complete that application. And then interviews will be conducted across January and February in 2027, with the project start dates usually being October 2027, but there is a possibility for an earlier start in April, depending on the project needs. You will be registered with a UK university. It will either be the University of Oxford or Open University. Your research project will be conducted on a full-time basis under normal circumstances, although part-time options can be discussed. The entirety of the PhD timeframe runs for 4 years, and as I already mentioned, your salary and research costs will be covered. You will see this email popping up again and again through the presentations, but for further details, you can contact us later at training@oucru.org. Now that's for the advertisements of our predetermined projects, but if you have a great idea for your own project, it is possible for you to discuss this with one of our supervisors. So if you have a great idea, you should go to our website and identify a potential OUCRU supervisor. You can either contact them directly or you can email our training team to e-introduce you. I would recommend that if you are going to follow this path, you should prepare a short project proposal, remembering, of course, that the research has to be focused on improving human health in Southeast Asia. You should have clear aims and objectives and clarify the gap you're trying to fill. You should have that ready before reaching out to a supervisor. It's also great if you could send us an up-to-date CV at the same time. But just a quick note that if you do want to be considered for a fully funded OUCRU studentship, you will still need to go through a competitive recruitment process. And where do our PhD graduates go after they complete their projects? Well, they go to a number of places. Many of them still continue to work in OUCRU as a postdoc or even as a group head. But many of our graduates have also gone on to careers in industry, in hospitals, in local universities, and some have also gone overseas to continue their research career. That brings me to the end of this short part of today's session. Thank you for listening. You do have lots of opportunities throughout to ask questions, but if you want to ask questions during any of the presentations, rather than wait till the end, you can ask any time in our chat box. Miss Kim will be there to answer your questions where she can. And any questions outstanding will be held until the end of the session, and I will do my best to respond to them then. So now we're going to move on to the next part of our programme, where we will meet our research groups. So we have many groups to hear from. They all have just 3 minutes each to give us a very short presentation. And I would like to start by inviting OUCRU Hanoi. We have Dr. Doti Thuy Nha. Nha, can you please unmute?
Thank you, Lee. Good afternoon, everyone. And it's my pleasure to be with you today to introduce about OUCRU Hanoi, where we're fighting with the AMR antimicrobial resistance. That's where tiny bacteria can cause a big global health issue. So OUCRU Hanoi, located in the north of Vietnam, and we're part of the Oxford Tropical Network. We are hosted by the National Hospital for Tropical Diseases in Đông Anh, Hanoi. And this year, OUCRU Hanoi turned to 20, still very young and energetic and strong in fighting AMR. So as you know, the antibiotic resistance caused by when the bacteria evolve and makes the infections much more difficult to treat. And how OUCRU Hanoi fight with that. In the hospital, our team had to run the national surveillance system to track the resistant bacteria, so kind of the list of most wanted pathogens for microbes. And we also promote the smarter use antibiotics because, you know, overuse of antibiotics might train bacteria to become superbugs and much more difficult to treat, as I mentioned earlier. So outside of the hospital, OUCRU Hanoi also work with the local community to spread the awareness and encourage the people in the community to use antibiotics properly and more responsibly. So no more take whatever is left in the medicine drawer behavior. So now, why you should consider to be the student with us. OUCRU Hanoi can offer you a great place to learn about the science, not only the science, whatever you like, medicine, biology, even the coding, there's always a space for you. So you will have a chance to work with our international scientists, actually global experts. You accept the modern lab with the whole genome sequencing, so fancy techniques, actually for the science, and join our real public health projects that actually bring the impact to the people. So in short, OUCRU Hanoi, where you can learn, do meaningful research, and maybe even help save the world a little without the superhero cape required. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Nha. Although I kind of like the idea of walking around with a superhero cape on. Maybe we should make that the new uniform of Hanoi. Thank you so much, Nha, for introducing OUCRU Hanoi's research. Thank you, Nha.
Enjoy.
Thank you. Moving on to an introduction to OUCRU Indonesia, we have Dr. Suwarti.
Yes, thank you, Lee. Hi, everyone. First and foremost, thank you to Indonesian invitations, mainly because this is a holidays in Indonesia, but you're still joining us. That's a very heartwarming to know that many of you still look to informations of us. So I just want to give a brief explanations about OUCRU Indonesia. Our journey started in 2008, and here we are now in 2026. We are not as big as OUCRU Ho Chi Minh. We have 4 faculty. Currently, we have our interim directors, both of OUCRU and OUCRU Indonesia in Jakarta. That's a kind of a privilege for us as well. Those groups comprises from clinical infectious diseases, malaria group, epidemiology and geospatial epidemiology, community health. These are part of those who run mostly of what OUCRU Indonesia did. We have a few postdoctoral fellows currently. I myself working in the clinical laboratories for that supporting many clinical infectious disease, mainly from laboratories perspective. Dr. Marlus is mainly working on the leprosy. So for those who are interested on working with leprosy, you can contact Dr. Marlus directly. Dr. Kartikas and others are quietly working on several variety from neglected tropical disease like scrub typhus, as well as antimicrobial stewardships. And we also have our postdoctoral fellows from the geospatial epidemiology group who are working on the modeling as well. So currently we are reside in the Faculty of Medicine's University of Indonesia, exactly in the Emery building. We have another laboratory in Department of Parasitology. Unfortunately, they were all in Jakarta only. We don't have any other sites beside that. So what you see in the slide is the representatives of our group. Currently, they are moving quite bigger. Next, please, Lee. Yeah, so this is only part of the studies that OUCRU Indonesia did. We try to actively engage with our local partners, collaborators, especially focusing on infectious disease research agenda that quite relevant to what Indonesia needs. For example, in our clinical infectious diseases, we have the antimicrobial stewardships studies, as well as HIVs and so on. And our studies deploy in almost all over Indonesia. So you can see in the map, we have a quite wide geographical view. So those studies comprise of diagnostic, prevention, vaccines, and treatment of malaria, prevention and treatment of tuberculosis, AMR, HIV, and STIs. We also have the surveillance, prevention of emerging infectious disease. And Edward later on will talk more about the community-based digital health interventions. That's also another interesting point. And we also have more to come. So we would kindly invite you to join us. Please contact directly to the head research group if you are interested. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ati. That's a lot of information. Good job in getting that across in just over 3 minutes. And now we're going to move northwest. We're going to OUCRU, Nepal. So let's hear from Dr. Sabina Dongle.
Thank you, Lee. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having me. Today, I'd like to briefly share some of the work and progress of OUCRU Nepal. Before I begin, I'd like to highlight an important achievement for us. Our director, Dr. Abhilasha Karke, recently received the National Health Research Award from the Nepal Health Research Council, and this recognition reflects her long-standing contribution to infectious disease research and public health in Nepal. So OUCRU Nepal initially focused on typhoid research, but over time our work has expanded to other important infectious diseases relevant to our setting. Our research now ranges from surveillance and observational studies to multi-center clinical trials, including platform trials. At present, we are focusing on strengthening our capacity and establishing Nepal as a leading hub for the clinical trials in South Asia, which we hope will further support spin-off scientific research and wider translational science initiatives. Currently, we are involved in multi-center trials, including Platform, Adastra, Arsenal FC, and Recovery, evaluating treatment options for respiratory illnesses. Alongside these, we are also conducting observational studies, including dengue surveillance, MADGIP, hypervirulent Klebsiella, and CRP studies. And to support this growing research portfolio, we now have a strong CTU team providing multi-center coordination and local data infrastructure support. A major focus moving forward is strengthening data governance and improving research quality systems in Nepal. Our research publication was on enteric fever, which was published in Lancet Seminar. This paper provides a comprehensive overview of the disease and highlights that in low and middle income countries, typhoid remains a major global health burden despite available interventions. And laboratory strengthening is another key area of our work. The OUCRU Nepal Microbiology Lab is also serving as a reference laboratory, supporting collaborating hospitals through quality assurance activities. For example, calibration systems, GCLP training, internal and external quality checks to help build robust laboratory systems in Nepal. We're also committed to research capacity building, and currently we have 2 PhD students, 1 master student, and also we host interns from international universities as well as national university. So community and stakeholder engagement remains central to our work. We conduct these engagements through active collaboration with community advisory boards and our public engagement team at OUCRU Nepal. Recently, we have also initiated regular dialogue with clinicians, key hospital stakeholders, and policymakers. Reflecting this, our CTU recently led a symposium on system-level approach in managing clinical research at a national summit of health and population scientists in Nepal that was organized by Nepal Health Research Council. We also successfully conducted closeout and dissemination meetings for our flagship at South Asia trial and for studies on serodiagnosis and Group B streptococcus, which were funded by MODRA, and pneumonia study. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sabina, for a whistle-stop tour of OUCRU Nepal's work. So anyone interested in studying OUCRU Nepal, please do reach out to us. We can connect you with Sabina or one of her colleagues. Thank you, Sabina. Okay, so moving to Ho Chi Minh City now, we have Dr. Nguyen To An from the Emerging Infections Group.
Thank you, Liz. Hello, everyone. My name is Anh. I'm a postdoc researcher in OUCRU Ho Chi Minh City. So today I'm pleased to introduce to you our group in Emerging Infectious Group. Our primary mission is to build a multidisciplinary platform for early detection and rapid characterization of emerging pathogens. By doing so, we aim to significantly strengthen pandemic preparedness for both in here, Vietnam, and as well cross-border region. Our research focus on a wide range of pathogens, virus pathogens, including respiratory virus such as RSV, SARS-CoV, influenza virus, and other emerging virus like EV71 and Mpox virus. We use this expertise to understand various clinical manifestations like community-acquired pneumonia, encephalitis, as hand, foot, and mouth disease, and even for the theoretical disease X. So to tackle these challenges, we employ a diverse set of approaches, including surveillance, genomic, and serosurveillance, observational study, and discovery research that utilize advanced technology like single-cell RNA sequencing and identify biomarker. We also integrate the clinical trial with machine learning and health economy to ensure that our finding had a practical public health impact. So to support for this work, we established a more modern and high throughput platform. As you can see on the right, we have the advanced sequencing platform alongside with the a specialized system for study immune response at the antibody and T cell level. So if you are interested in infectious disease, particularly for the virus pathogens, just come and contact us. Thank you. Back to you, Liz.
Thank you very much, Ang. And also, if you like playing with really fun machines and lots of high-tech equipment, the Emerging Infections team may be the team for you. Thank you, Ang. Okay, and moving on to our tuberculosis group, we have Dr. Phan Nguyen Quoc Can. Can.
Okay, thank you, Lee, for the kind introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Quoc Can. I'm a PhD student from the tuberculosis group at OUCRU, and it's a pleasure for me to be here today and present our works. So first up, what is tuberculosis and what makes it interesting? Well, tuberculosis, or TB for short, is the deadliest infectious disease, responsible for over 1.2 million deaths in 2025. And there are over 10 million new cases each and every year. It's caused by a very small organism called Mycobacterium tuberculosis, which commonly damaging the lungs, but can also attack other organs such as the bone, the brains, and cause serious disease as well. So given this deadly burden, you can imagine the large number of research questions that needs to be answered, investigated, and the huge amount of effort and resources that has been invested. At OUCRU, our group is dedicated to investigate the underlying mechanism of TB, both from the pathogen side, what the bacteria does to our body, and from the human side, how our body responds to the infections. By understanding these mechanisms, we aim to improve diagnostic, provide better, more effective, and shorter treatments, as well as enhancing preventive strategies. We pursue this goal through high-quality clinical studies, including clinical trials and observational study. We have a strong foundation to support this work, including a well-equipped laboratory with seasoned experts in microbiology, immunology, and omics technologies such as proteomics or single-cell RNA-seq. And we also have a dedicated data analysis team specialized in bioinformatics, AI, and machine learning. We greatly benefit from a strong network of local and international collaboration. So whether you are a clinician aiming to improve patient care, a biologist eager to develop a new diagnostic test, or a computer scientist who want to apply the best model into healthcare, if you are interested, come join us in the fight against TB. Thank you for your listening.
Thank you very much, Can. You can see Can has kindly put a QR code at the bottom of the screen, so you can reach out to him if you would like to join his team and join him on a PhD journey. He's now in year 2, right, Can? So things are going very well for him, so you could soon be in a group joining him on a similar journey. Okay, next up from the malaria team, we have Miss Von Yop Lam Phuong. Phuong.
Hi, good morning, everyone. On behalf of Malaria Group, I will present our framework for malaria surveillance in the Greater Mekong sub-regions. Our target is to eliminate malaria in the GMS by 2030. So to achieve this, we are now focused on 3 projects. Our first project is the genetic surveillance. This focuses on symptomatic malaria patients across 6 countries. The result is the malaria genetic dataset, and by analyzing genetic dataset, we can track drug-resistant markers to ensure treatments remain effective or not. We can map cross-border transmission and imported cases to understand how malaria spread across the GMS. We can identify population genetics to better understand the transmission dynamics and parasite evolution. We can also characterize outbreak and to allow for the quick response during any outbreak. The output isn't just about data, it's also about capacity building. We are now transferring technical and bioinformatics pipelines to other country teams to ensure their long-term ownership of this surveillance tool. However, symptomatic patients only tell half of the story. Our second project is the asymptomatic serological surveillance. This project targets malaria patients who show no symptoms in high-risk population, and our goal is to uncover this hidden infection using ultra-sensitive qPCR to identify asymptomatic prevalence and using serological tool to measure past malaria exposure. By doing this, we can intervene before this infection can lead to new outbreak in our community. We are also transferring technical and bioinformatics pipeline to the local teams to strengthen their local surveillance capacity. Our third project is the CDOT clinical trial. This project shifts the focus toward the radical cure, specifically for symptomatic B-Vivax infections. We are evaluating whether increasing the standard tafenoquine dose from 300 mg to 450 mg can improve radical cure rate while maintaining safety. This work tells us how we can treat the patient better and avoid the recurrence that remains a major challenge for B-Vivax infections. These three projects are not isolated. Together, they give us the evidence to inform the national program in developing treatment policy and elimination strategies, and overall to support the malaria elimination by 2030. And one last point, our genetic surveillance project led by Dr. Nguyen is seeking an early career postdoc to join the team. Full detail will be available soon on OUCRU website. But if you're interested in this research area, you can contact us through this email. And thank you for your attention. I welcome any questions, and back to you, Lee.
Thank you very much, Phung. That's exciting, a new postdoc position. So yeah, if any of you have joined on the call and already have a PhD, maybe you're interested in applying to this team and helping the effort to eliminate malaria by 2030. Thank you very much, Phung. And moving on from one mosquito-borne disease to another, from our dengue team, we have Dr. Nguyen Minh Nguyệt.
Yeah, thank you, Lee. Hello, everyone. My name is Nguyễn Minh Nguyệt. I'm a clinical research fellow of dengue group at the OUCRU Vietnam. And today I'm pleased to take you behind the scene to a global battle against tiny virus that affect billions of lives and place staggering burden on healthcare and economy globally. As the researcher at OUCRU Vietnam, our mission is to pull back the curtain on this invisible invader. First of all, we would like to understand the virus in order to save lives. We want to know exactly how the virus sneaks into the body, what warning bells it set off, and how our immune system tries to fight back. Our goal is also to spot the patients who might become severely ill before they even realize that they are in trouble. To do this, we team up with experts in Imperial College in the UK to create wearable device. This gadget uses smart algorithm to watch over patient constantly and comfortably, ensuring the warning signs are caught in real time without causing any discomfort to the individual. But we don't stop at monitoring. We also on the hunt for the safe and effective drug to stop the virus in its track. One of our bright PhD students, Dr. Trần Bang Huynh, is currently leading a fascinating project testing a medication called anakinra. Her work focuses on calming the fire of inflammation inside the body to prevent the disease from turning into severe features. Last but not least, we are looking at the big picture by combining climate data, mosquito population, and local health report. We are building an outbreak forecasting tool for dengue. Instead of rain, this tool predicts when and where an outbreak will strike. This allows our community to take action early, stopping the virus before it ever finds its next home. As you can see in the picture, our work is a massive collaboration across many fields. We are just looking at the test tube or the number or the symptoms. We are looking at the future where dengue is no longer a threat globally. So if you want to join us on this journey or learn more, please scan the QR code or reach out to us via contact details providing on the slide. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nwit. And it's so interesting to see infectious disease research starting to blend with climate change research, of course, because we know that those mosquitoes are starting to spread into different countries. So if any of you on the call are interested in climate change research and how that integrates with infectious diseases, the dengue team are actively pursuing that at the moment. Okay, and moving briefly away from humans just a little bit, we're going to have a talk now from Dr. Nguyen Vinh Chum from the zoonoses team. Chum.
Yeah, thank you, Lee, for the introduction. On behalf of our group, my name is Chung, and I'm a postdoctoral scientist. I'm very happy to share with you our group today. So as you know, the majority of pathogen, up to 70%, could be shared between animals and humans. So our group objective is to study and understand the connection between animals and humans to protect human health. So our current project is ongoing, including as listed in the slide. We focus on the study that understand the mechanism of sharing antibiotic resistance between animals and humans, the important role of human usage antibiotic, especially antibiotic, is very urgent in Vietnam, and the antibiotic could be resistant, and I think the use of unlimited use in animal could become a threat in human health. Therefore, our group focus on community use of antibiotic. Another pathogen, which is a zoonotic pathogen, as you can see here, the strep Swiss infection, and we study those by most of our study in our group. We focus on not only the epidemiology, but we also using genomics to study the characterize of each of those pathogens. Along with antibiotic resistance and strep Swiss, we also focus our group on other pathogens, including strep pneumonia and Bacteria pertussis. We also use genomics for those pathogens. We will soon advertise a PhD project focus on the study of pneumonia in community with the use of the impact of vaccine, especially PCV, on those children using both clinical and genomic data. So you could keep an eye on our advertisement. And if you're interested in doing this study, please come and join our group. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you very much, Chum, and thank you for introducing that project. So there's an example of a project that's going to be available for advertising this year. So do keep checking our websites to find out when that application process opens, and good luck with your application. Next up from biostatistics, we have Mr. Hoang Van Tuan.
So thank you, Leach. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So thank you for having me today. I would like to briefly introduce the biostatistic team at OUCRU, who we are, what we are doing, and what kind of opportunity we can afford to and support PhD students. So as you know, biostatistics focus on using statistical methods to analyze and interpret data from biomedical and public health research. In practice, this means helping researchers answer clinical and scientific questions using real-world data. So we are a small team, but active and lovely with 5 members. One group head, 3 postdocs, and 1 research assistant working across many research areas. First, we provide statistical support. This includes advice on study design, sample size, data requirement, analysis plan, interpretation of results, and manuscript preparation. We also supervise PhD students. And second, we provide the training. This is very important for PhD students and early career researchers at OUCRU. We contribute to courses, seminars, and mentoring to strengthen statistical capacity. We believe good statistical thinking should begin at the design stage, not only after the data have been collected. And thus, we conduct methodological research. We develop and apply statistical methods that are relevant to OUCRU priority in infectious disease research. As shown in the slide, biostatistics contribute from the beginning to the end of a study, from study design to reporting and interpretation. For PhD candidates, there are several possible research directions. One area is predictions modeling for diagnosis and prognosis of several infectious diseases. Another area is causal inference, especially for randomized trial and observational studies. And the third area is the analysis of biomarker and clinical marker trajectory over time and see how they relate to disease progression and patient outcomes. Overall, our team offers opportunity to work on real clinical and public health problems while developing strong quantitative and methodological skills. So thank you very much. And we would be very happy to discuss possible PhD topic with anyone who is interested. Thank you, and over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Twan. Yes, biostatistics are critical to all of the research we do at OUCRU, but as Dr. Twan said, they host PhD students too. So if you're interested in working on projects like this, do reach out to them to find out more. Thank you, Dr. Twan. Moving on to our mathematical modelling team, we have our Head of Department, Associate Professor Mark Schwazi. Mark.
Yeah, hello everyone.
Hi, Mark.
So mathematical modeling. Yeah, you hear me? Okay. Yeah,
yes,
so I think one thing that distinguishes from biostats is that instead of really much focusing on analyzing data, we're really much focusing on the mechanisms that may have generated this data in the first place. And the way we do it is by building mathematical models. The data we're working on, most of them are on processes that occurs at the population level. So very much the question we are interested in are public health questions. And they are typically incidents, case reports, and how they vary through times and in space. And those data typically are surveillance data that are produced by the Vietnamese public health institutions we're working with. Because we're working very closely with those institutions, the question we are very much interested revolve around those practical questions they have, which are typically surveillance, forecasting, and decision making for not only for control of outbreaks but also for prevention. In that matter, we are very much interested in particular in policies related to the use of vaccination and antimicrobial resistance. So a neat aspect of mathematical bundling is that we are not specialized of any particular infectious disease, which makes us work on a very wide spectrum of infections, always in collaboration with other groups at OUCRU. For example, at the moment, we work on measles in collaboration with emerging infections, on dengue in collaboration with the dengue group, and on Klebsiella pneumoniae in collaboration with the molecular epidemiology that you will hear about in a minute. So if you are interested in the sort of things we're doing, you need to know that we spend most of our time in front of the computer. We're doing a little bit of mathematics and a whole lot of computer programming to actually solve or simulate those models that we're building. So this means that if you're interested in our research agenda, you don't necessarily need to be a mathematician or computer scientist, but you definitely need to have a taste for mathematics and computer programming. So at the moment, we're quite a small number in the group. We are 3 research assistants and 2 PhD students, plus myself. And there is plenty of room for more people and more projects to develop.
Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you for that introduction to the mathematical modelling team. So with mathematics and, forecasting the future or conducting surveillance on diseases is something that you're interested in, you can reach out to a member of the mathematical modelling team, whether it's Mark or one of his colleagues. Thank you, Mark. And then moving on to molecular epidemiology, we have Dr. Nguyen Phan Nhu Huynh. Huynh.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Huynh. Hi.
Thank you,
Over
Lee.
to you.
Thank you, Lee and Kim for your introduction. So, my name is Won, and I'm a second-year PhD student in the molecular epidemiology group. So today I'm gonna show you a little bit about what our group doing every day here in OUCRU. So if you ever search our group name in the OUCRU website page, you will see that our main focus right now is the Klebsiella pneumoniae, which is the very famous gram-negative pathogens that Mark already mentioned before. And so besides that pathogens, we also have a few other projects focused on some pathogens that listed in the figure here, like Salmonella, E. coli, and Shigella. So Klebsiella pneumoniae is I want to introduce a little bit about that pathogen because that is also one of my main focus in the PhD project. So that Klebsiella pneumoniae pathogen is very famous for the ability to cause many different infections in both the local and the hospital setting. And so back to our group, by the word molecular epidemiology here, so to make it easier for you to understand, I will split our group name into 2 different parts. So the first part is the genomic epidemiology, and the second part is the molecular biology. And so for the first part here, I have the phylogenetic structure. So what we do in the work of genomic epidemiology, we will use the genome data came from the pathogens that cause disease, and together with the epidemiological data, something you can see on the slide like the locations information, the patient information, the treatment outcome information, for example. So we take together the genome data and the epidemiological data to track the pathogens. To track how the pathogens can spread and can evolve in the specific populations. And so that's more about the dry lab skill. So for the second part, we have here is the molecular biology. So for this field, we perform many lab assays. We try to study how genes and the molecular, like a DNA or proteins, functions inside bacterial cells. For example, here, we try to investigate the mechanism of the antimicrobial resistance Vietnamese in the pathogens. So that's the meaning behind our group name. And besides our 2 main focus here, recently we also develop a new project which focus on a very new, interesting, and challenging field, the immunology. And we try to explore the human immune response against Klebsiella pneumoniae again, that causing bloodstream infection in patients. So if you're joined in our group, either as an intern or a student, you'll be able to learn all of the listening skills here. And if you have any questions or you insist in our group project, you can simply go into the OUCRU website page and explore more about our publications. So if you have any questions, you can feel free to contact me for more information. Yes, thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Quinn. So yeah, if you like that combination of dry and wet lab and working with Quinn and Dr. Yui, the head of molecular epi, and the rest of the team, then do reach out to them. The contact information is here on the slide, or you can check out more on our website. Moving on to our social science implementation research team, we have Dr. Nguyen Hom In. Are you there?
Yes.
Hi, Ian.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lee. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ian. I'm a postdoc researcher of the Social Science and Implementation Research team in Oklahoma City. I'm giving a talk today on behalf of my group. So you may wonder what social science to do with health research. Certainly, healthcare is not less a social issue than a biomedical issue, as biomedical practices can be performed differently in different cultural, economic, and political contexts. So first, let me tell you a story of Miss Min, a 45-year-old lady living in Kantar, and she's selling vegetable in a market as a job. And she was diagnosed with hepatitis C in 2015, but she has never had it properly treated because she could not afford the treatment. And she visits the Hospital of Tropical Diseases in Ho Chi Minh City every 3 months to check her condition. In our study, Ms. Min tells the story of many of other patients who overcome everyday challenges to seek care, from treatment costs to lengthy travel, and from social discrimination they face while having an infectious disease. The context-centered studies allow us to understand people's personal and structural challenges preventing community members access to care, and from that to ensure equal access to healthcare. Our team studies patient experiences from care seeking across multiple illness contexts such as Hep C, HIV, dengue fever, or bacterial infections. We try to understand how care can be gendered by us by looking into communication campaigns for the HPV vaccines, and how inequitable vaccination access in vulnerable populations can put them in danger of contracting measles in the recent outbreak. We inform healthcare workers and policymakers to make better decisions to exploring challenges and opportunities of implementing new innovation in the ICU, and through calculating healthcare costs, and through understanding the perception and practices of end-of-life care in the context of low resource settings. We collaborate with the clinical trial units to do social science studies to understand history of ethical implication in clinical trial conduct, and try to improve ethical practices. By providing in-depth understanding of local healthcare context, social science is essential for OUCRU to propose solutions that fit the local need and capacity and achieve our goal of reducing burden of infectious diseases. So if you are interested in learning about lives that are different from yours, receiving professional training, qualitative research, and also enjoying beautiful landscapes during field trips, please join us. We welcome students from social science, humanity, and public health backgrounds. So thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Ian. So yeah, if you're interested in the stories behind diseases and understanding communities better and conducting more qualitative and social science research, then this is the team for you. You will hear a little bit more from one of their PhD students later. Thank you very much, Ian.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Moving on to our public and community engagement team, we have Mr. Vu Yui Tan. Tan.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Lee. So greetings from the public engagement team. So hello, everyone. My name is Tan. I'm the Vice Head of the Public and Community Engagement at OUCRU. And thank you very much for taking the time to be with us today. So for engagement, our principle is grounded in a people-centered approach, which means that we believe like research and science should put people first, and engagement will be the key to make that happen by putting people at the heart of research and science. So in terms of work for engagement at OUCRU, we work very closely not only with patients, but also with their families, local communities, where OUCRU are conducting our studies, and also with the wider public, including like school children, like university students and young professionals. So by engagement with the work we do, we aim to make OUCRU research more relevant, more responsive, and more accessible to the people it serves. So a very essential remit of our engagement work is to create like opportunities for OUCRU researchers and community members to discuss and co-create to make better processes for research. Some of our public listening platforms, such as community advisory group or youth advisory groups, enable OUCRU researchers to better understand the public concerns, and also to allow the public members to provide feedback and offer suggestions to strengthen the way that we do research at OUCRU. And in addition, we provide training and technical support for both healthcare workers and OUCRU researchers to better communicate about their work with the community members, including patients and caregivers. So in Southeast Asia, in particular in Vietnam, young people, including university students and young professionals under 30, they are not usually involved in those decision-making processes that affect their health and the health of their community. So from the engagement perspective, we are keen to work with Vietnamese youth, supporting their capacity so that they can contribute to OUCRU's research, making it more responsive and more accessible to young people. And in parallel with the engagement activities we conduct in collaboration with various local and regional partners. We place a strong emphasis on evaluating and documenting good practices for internal learning and sharing with others. So in terms of PhD opportunities, at the engagement group, we do have a number of PhD students who have advanced their interest in accessing best practice in engagement and science communication in order to make biomedical research more inclusive and responsive to the need of the community. So last but not least, we are now seeking enthusiastic young people, young volunteers to join our exciting projects that will help translate OUCRU research findings into engaging and accessible content for young audiences. And also as the youth volunteers, you can also have the chance to collaborate with OUCRU researchers to better understand the young populations in supporting clinical trial research. So come join us and making an impact. Scan the QR code or visit our OUCRU Facebook page for more information. Yeah. Over to you, Lee.
Thank you very much, Tan. So there you go. Even those on the call who maybe might be interested in a PhD in the future but aren't ready, there's a great opportunity to already interact very early with one of our really important teams. So do scan that QR code and Tan will be able to give you more information. All right, fantastic. Thank you, Tan. And last but not least, one of the beating heart teams of OUCRU, we have our clinical trials unit, and presenting on behalf of the CTU, we have Miss Liti Huang Lan.
Yeah, hi everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you. My name is Lan. I'm the Research Monitor Manager at Clinical Trials Unit, CTU at OUCRU Vietnam. It's my pleasure today to represent CTU to introduce our team. Let me start with a simple idea. Imagine a researcher with a research question, a spark for a new treatment that could improve patient outcomes, even save thousands of lives. But a great idea is only the beginning. At OUCRU CTU, we are the partners who have turned that what if into scientific reality. So what do? We support researchers across the entire clinical research journey with expertise, system, and a collaborative approach. It begins with the design phase. Here we may have researchers sharpen their study design, discuss methodology of study conduct, and assess its feasibility. We support budget development and grant writing, helping secure the funding that makes research possible. Once funding is in place, researchers enter the setup phase, which can often feel complex and overwhelming. Our ethics and regulatory team step in here, navigating complex world of approval from Oxford Ethics Committee, Australia Local Ethics Committee, and the Ministry of Health. Our contact team build legal frameworks and agreements. Our pharmacy team carefully sources and prepare investigational products. And connectors lead study logistics and study management, connecting on teams and collaborators. Data team together with IT and data management build study database and data management plan. We develop SOP with hospital site together with study team to standardize every step of the study conduct. And our monitoring team builds risk-based monitoring plans and ensure the site readiness before recruitment start. Next is the conduct phase. Our focus here is the participant safety and data integrity. Pharmacy team manages randomization and blinding while maintaining the quality of investigational products or study drugs. Monitors ensure compliance and data accuracy at site. Behind the scene, the data team performs the data entry and validation. Coordinators will keep study on track and support sites to meet recruitment target and key milestones. And finally, in the analysis and reporting, we support data cleaning and validation, and reporting and support the reporting to ensure the report requirement, ensure the transparency, accountability. And we don't just report study, we build partnerships. Over the past 10 years, CTU has supported 240 studies, including 32 clinical trials and more than 200 observational studies and lab and social studies. Beyond individual projects, we also have strengthened research capacity. We conduct yearly training around 300 research staff in good clinical practice and research ethics, and we support over 60 collaborating institutes across Vietnam and region. We mentor new research team about clinical trial management and share the OUCRU CTU model and system across partner units. Through multi-country monitoring and operational support, we provide study oversight and help ensure study quality at scale. So with our regional hubs from Ho Chi Minh City, Hanoi, Indonesia, and Kathmandu, Nepal. So CTU has grown from a small support team into now one of the regional leaders in academic trial governance and operation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Lan. So a very busy team helping support our researchers in running these trials, setting these trials up and supporting them all the way through to the reporting stage. Thank you very much, Lan. So that is giving you a flavour of all of the research groups and our support groups at OUCRU, from Ho Chi Minh City to Hanoi to Indonesia to Nepal. So now I have a question for you all. You've heard a lot about the different research that we do. And we want to try and understand a little bit more about the research topics that you're interested in. So I want you to consider this question: is which research topic would you like to explore for your PhD? What ideas do you have? And in order to interact with this activity, please scan the QR code that you see on your screen, and that will take you to Slido. And on Slido, I'd like you to start adding some of the keywords that you are interested in studying. Is it surveillance of dengue? Is it, genetic analysis of the microbiome? What are you interested in? So think about any of these topics, and it could be your own topic. It doesn't matter. It might not be something you've heard today, but hey, you can suggest a research topic. So you should have a time to scan the QR code. I'm going to briefly stop sharing my slides, and I'm going to share instead the Slido website. So we can already see that lots of you are interacting with this, which is great. So lots of people interested in social sciences. We see dengue appearing there. Oh, psychology, that's interesting. AMR, immunology, vaccines, malaria and TB, malaria elimination. So someone clearly there has really engaged with the malaria group's talk. Vaccine safety, leprosy, so that's fantastic. That is very much talking to OUCRU Indonesia, who do some work in the leprosy field. HIV, AI, interesting. So we actually have a group working on technologies and emerging technologies. We definitely have opportunities for those that are interested in working in AI. We would really welcome any good ideas, actually, for any projects on AI. Zoonotic diseases, some more interest in social sciences, spatial risk assessment of zoonotic disease, someone being very specific there. Hopefully someone from the zoonosis team is listening. We also have a number of researchers working on geospatial analysis in Indonesia, for example. Rare diseases, some more AI popping up. Interesting. So we have more people typing. I'm just going to let you interact with that for a couple of minutes more. Biostatistics, surveillance. You can write as many words as you like. You can go back and add some more if you wish. Implementation research. Yeah, we actually do a fair bit of implementation research, particularly in Hanoi. Typhoid. So our molecular epidemiology team and our OUCRU Nepal team will be listening. Okay. Thank you very much for that AMR getting bigger, which is nice. That's a huge area of our research. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing now. Thank you very much for showing your interest in these different topics. And I'm going to go back to my slides now. And we're going to watch another short video. And this video is in particular focusing on research culture and capacity building across OUCRU. Our research culture is something we're very, very proud of, and we're committed to supporting both our students and our staff.
The thing that defines OUCRU's culture at the moment is a spirit of endeavour and collaboration that is really unusual. I think that's what people feel when they walk into this building, and that's what we need to maintain.
Hey, how are you?
Ready?
Satu. OUCRU has been really successful in terms of developing and growing homegrown scientists. We have a number of graduates through our programmes, and OUCRU staff have gone on to senior positions in other institutions and in government, for example. Our PhD programme at OUCRU is also incredibly successful. We've graduated over 100 PhD students since we started our programme. And in actual fact, the students at the moment, our student body, over 90% of these are actually homegrown. They're local, so being Vietnamese, Indonesian, Nepalese, for example. And that's actually pretty representative of our history of graduating students.
So I think through OUCRU, I receive a lot of things. So I receive training, support from a group of supervisors in different areas.
OUCRU particularly pays attention to the development of researchers with support resources that you hardly can find in any other research institutes in the country and also in the region.
Over the years, I have received much support through the OUCRU program, which allow me to have more study, especially in epidemiology during the COVID pandemic and also another research studies. I have been fortunate to be part of the Make Difference program, and it has been beneficial for me in so many ways, such as developing a successful and productive team, training to be part of the coaching and mentoring-ship for the new students.
One of the initiatives that was started is called OWLS, and OWLS stands for OUCRU Women Leaders in Science. We developed that group because we felt that young researchers needed to see strong female role models, female researchers, female leaders, but also they expressed a need to network, to develop their careers. One of the achievements that we're very proud of is the development of a mentorship scheme, because we really want to be able to offer our young researchers all the tools they need to develop a successful career in science.
We want to support scientists right from the level of BSc through their career pathway to enable them to reach their full potential.
I think it's the support, the environment and the freedom. And I think that we've been so lucky to be funded by Wellcome to develop our own scientific career.
So OUCRU also gave me many precious opportunities to do clinical research in Vietnam, to become the head of a research group, to receive 2 Wellcome Trust Fellowship and have more funding from international networks.
When being a Wellcome Fellow, I have more recognition and credentials in the research field. I'm becoming more confident in expressing my own research contributions and more confident in reaching out and connecting with prominent researchers in the world.
I'm also a recipient of the Wellcome Fellowship, and it has brought me to the new level to be an independent scientist.
I want to train more PhD students, Vietnamese PhD students. I want to, inspire them to do science that would, strengthen the scientific capacity here in Vietnam.
I am now trying to pass on what I've received by continued training, mentoring, and creating more opportunities for my students and my group member.
So the ultimate objective is to produce scientists from the region who are capable of standing up and doing internationally competitive science. I think my job as a leader is as a catalyst. I am here to try and make things happen. Therefore, the style required for that is one of inclusivity, one of listening, one of transparency, and that's what I endeavour to bring to the programme. And I hope that that manifests itself through the programme as part of the culture that we create here in OUCRU.
I think the research culture that's been cultivated in OUCRU has been very important for its success. There are several key elements. It's a multinational collaboration, it's inquiring, it's flexible, it's reactive, and it's highly effective. And I think it's a tribute to everyone who's worked in the unit.
OUCRU is about building future leaders. It doesn't begin and end with PhDs, and I think that's really, really important. It's the transferable aspect of what we're trying to do, as well as encouraging future scientists to look beyond the lab and the clinic into how they can make a difference in their communities.
Okay, now we're going to move on to give you a flavour of what it's like to be a PhD student at OUCRU at the moment. So we have two fantastic members of our PhD cohort, one from Indonesia, one based in OUCRU Ho Chi Minh City. So it gives me great pleasure initially to introduce Dr. Edward Sutanto from OUCRU Indonesia. Edward.
Hi, thank you, Lee. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Edward Sutanto. I'm a third-year DPhil student at OUCRU Indonesia. So today, I want to share a little bit about my journey to becoming a DPhil student at the University of Oxford. And hopefully, this encourages people who might be considering similar path in the future too. And the reason I chose this title, is PhD at Oxford Possible, is because honestly, even several years ago, I never really imagined whether this would be possible for me too. So this slide shows my journey so far. I started my education as a medical student in Indonesia. In the later part of my medical degree, I became interested in public health research. And after the completion of medical degree, I worked as assistant research while providing clinical care. And that experience eventually led me to pursue a Master of Public Health degree in Hopkins. After that, I did a postdoc in the US, and then I came back to Indonesia, where I sort of switched gear from research to program management work in donor-funded health project before I started my PhD. I think looking back, my journey was definitely not linear or perfectly planned. And I think that's something important to highlight in this slide. There is no single ideal background to pursuing PhD in OUCRU. I think OUCRU is very supportive of students from diverse backgrounds. I know some of you mentioned in chat, like from bioinformatics, statistics, etc. Computer science, those are very welcome in OUCRU. Next slide. So I want to switch gear to talk about my PhD. So my PhD focused on the impact of integrated digital health intervention to prevent mother-to-child transmission of hepatitis B in Indonesia within OUCRU Indonesia Department Community of Health. I think what I really appreciate about this PhD experience is that it goes beyond academia. It's not only about publishing papers, but really it's also about program implementation, collaboration, and policy impact. So through my experience in my PhD in OUCRU, I have had opportunities to work with the minister, district health offices, researchers, and international collaborators too. I've also been fortunate to receive support from OUCRU PRI Studentship and the Tropical Network Fund to fund my PhD degree too. So this is also an option for those looking for funding. I think this opportunity helped me realize that PhD can be both academically meaningful, but also directly connected to improving health system in our local region. Next slide. So I think another thing I want to emphasize is that, and I think this is what makes PhD in OUCRU quite unique. I think PhD with OUCRU is a very comprehensive environment, so it does not only focus on research. Along my PhD journeys, I had opportunities to present my work in both internal Oxford conference and along external ones. I participated with competitions such as poster presentations in those conferences, Dojo Shinjutsu 10, and received recognition too. So through my scholarship, I also received fundings for additional training and professional development, which allow me to grow beyond my core research project. Like, for example, OUCRU have 3-minute thesis competition for PhD students that I joined that allows me to practice skill to present my research to a lay audience, making sure that research go beyond academia. So I think more importantly, all of this experience has helped me build confidence, communication skills, network, and visibility. So I think this reflects something very valuable about OUCRU and Oxford environment. It's very supportive and nurturing in helping students become a complete researcher and independent researcher. So my last slide on this, I finally, I want to end with something personal. I do still find a PhD journey can be feel lonely, challenging, and overwhelming. But I think one thing I learned in this past 3 years is that you do not have to do it alone. Through my journeys, I received various supports from mentors, student bodies, regional training leaders, supervisors, and Oxford College too. And those has been incredibly important. I think this variety of support available allows you to access different support based on different issue that you might encounter during your PhD. So for anyone considering to join this path, my advice would be like, don't hesitate to apply, even if you feel uncertain. I think there's a lesson learned, even if you fail for your future applications. You want to find mentors and coaches early, especially people who can give you feedback on presentations or the writings that are going to be submitted. And lastly, third, don't be very afraid to reach out during your PhD journey too. I hope my story shows the opportunity like this are genuinely possible, and OUCRU can be an amazing place for you to grow both personally and professionally. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Edward. Thank you for sharing your journey. And a really interesting point that Edward made was, even if you're not successful applying, I think that's quite important learning opportunity as well. We have had experiences of students in the past who maybe didn't manage to get into the programme the first time round, but second time round they were successful. So it's part of a growth trajectory as well. And we look forward to welcome you to the programme and supporting you as much as we can. And next up we have Chi. So Chi is an OUCRU PhD student based in Ho Chi Minh City with our social science and implementation research group. Over to you, Chi.
Thank you, Lee. Hello, everybody. My name is Chi. I am a PhD student in social science. My project is about barriers of accessing the HPV vaccine in Vietnam. And like Edward, my journey was not linear. I started out at OUCRU in the communications team, and I started my PhD only a year ago. So I kind of know what I'm doing. And in the next few slides, you'll see. And all of these photos that you're seeing are photos that I took over the past year. So hopefully it'll give you a flavor of what's going on at OUCRU. Some of them are in Oxford, some of them are in Vietnam. So next slide, please. Okay, so the first thing that I want to shout out is actually my supervisors who are also featured in some of the videos that you've seen. We have Associated Professor Jennifer Van Nile, who is head of social science, and Dr. Evelyn, who is head of CTU at OUCRU. They are amazing. They tolerate my neurosis, first of all. They understand my vision. And I think this is really important to be somewhere where you have really supportive supervisors who are grounded in the context of your research, who understand the challenges, who understand the research questions, who understand the context of doing research in Vietnam, in Indonesia, in the local context, and also can support you with theoretical as well as practical questions. And I love them. I meet with them like every week, and every week I have some new issues, and they're so patient. And yeah, so find supervisors who understand your vision, who are supportive, but who also are patient and tolerate you, which is quite rare in PhD programs. So I am really lucky to find a supervising team who's not only really incredible researchers, but also really, really amazing humans. Yes, next slide, please. Yes, and then the privilege of being at OUCRU is that, one, you study with incredible people. So the cohort that I'm studying with, they have such diverse backgrounds, really interesting interests, and they're just really interesting people to learn to know, and they're really inspiring, and I learn something new every single day, even if they're not like related to anything that I'm studying at all. It's quite inspiring to see what people are doing and how they get inspired and what kind of literature that they're reading, and that also gives you fuel for your study. OUCRU is also an incredible place where there's a lot of opportunities for you to travel, to present your research overseas, to learn from overseas organizations. So for example, in August, I will be spending 4 months in Princeton to work with anthropologists at the Center for Health and Wellbeing at Princeton University in the US. This is an incredible opportunity that I wouldn't have access to if it's not for the relationship between OUCRU and Princeton University. So I'm really, really grateful for that, because this is not an opportunity that you can access otherwise. The funding, the mentorship, just the fact that you get to study at both Oxford and Princeton, right? Like who does that? So amazing. And I've also been able to present my research at other conferences as well, like Edward. Okay, next, please. So why OUCRU? Obviously, I've only been here for a year. So there's a lot of things that I still don't know. I'm still shaping up my research proposal. I'm about to do my first milestone transfer exam, but things that I've gained along the way, incredible. First of all, Lee and Kim, shout out to Lee and Kim, also tolerate my neurosis. I have a lot of questions always. I have to get answers immediately. So they're amazing at supporting all the PhD students. And I think that's quite rare to have such patient and on the ground and tailored support to what you're doing. And the support team that understand the context of your study as well. Once again, being around and learning from actual geniuses, not just your classmates, your cohort mates, your supervisors, but in the context of the organization, there's like a ton of world-changing science that is being done here. And I go to work every day just feeling so inspired that I'm making a difference. Also, because I didn't come from a research background, medical research background, it's quite a good opportunity for me to get to drive my own research. I have a research question to come in, and I get to lead that. And I have the support system to help me execute, which is just quite rare. And I mean, like, who let me in here and drive my own research, right? But fortunately, nothing has gone wrong yet. And of course, the lifelong friendship that I've gained from here. It's just, fun to go into a workplace with people who you get along with. So anyway, last slide, please. Okay, so this is my last slide. Thank you for listening to me. Again, these are like just some of the amazing people that I work with at OUCRU. I also have a note to self, as you can see, that obviously it's amazing to be in a PhD. It's amazing to be in a PhD at the University of Oxford. But my motto whenever I'm freaking out is that who gets to get paid to learn, right? Who gets to get paid to just read all day? And I think this is the true reward is if you're curious, if you have a research question, if you are passionate about learning new things and learning from other people and helping people, I think this is just an incredible place to do that. So this is my note to self. Hopefully this is also inspiring. And this is my last slide. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chi. Thank you for bringing that energy and being so open and transparent about maybe the sides that are a little bit more difficult, but also that's a lovely note to self. And I think everyone, could reflect on that and think, yeah, there's something quite special about being paid to explore and to be a bit of an explorer and to get to do very different things each day, which is the great part of doing a PhD. Of course, it's hard work. It's not easy. I always say if it was easy, everyone would do it. But it certainly is an incredible journey. And thank you to you and Edward for sharing. And that kind of brings us to the end of our formal part of our open day. We have around 15 minutes left. We still have Chi here. We still have Edward here. We have our chat box. If you want to keep asking questions there, great. If you have a question you would like to raise right now, please do raise your hand. In the meantime, Kim has been very busy on the chat answering all your questions, and she may have gathered some additional questions. Kim, are there any questions you would like to raise from the chat while we've been busy listening to all these amazing presentations?
Lee, let me share the Word document.
Perfect. I'll stop sharing. So you've gathered lots of questions for us. So that's great. Let me just stop. Okay, you should be able to share now.
Unfortunately, I cannot copy the questions directly from the chat box. That's why I need to take screenshots. Can you see it?
Screenshots. Yes, I can. Okay, so lots of good questions here. So given that OUCRU PhD students carry out their research primarily in, actually just to correct that, Vietnam, Indonesia or Nepal, the question is, what proportion of the 4-year programme are students expected or required to spend physically in the UK? Okay, so honestly, things changed a lot during COVID. So it used to be, if you were a student of Oxford, you would at the very least have to travel for your matriculation, so at the start of the registration, and at the end to do your viva. Now, our OUCRU studentship still support that, right? So if you want to, you can still go to matriculate and still go to sit your defence in Oxford in person. But that absolute requirement is no longer there. So if you're unable for whatever reason, maybe you have family commitments and you're really not in a space to travel to the UK, it's actually not 100% required. Now, for some of you that do want to go and spend a little bit longer, our studentships do have some funding there. So you may wish to choose to go there for a little bit longer. Now, we can't support you spending 4 years at Oxford, and in a way it doesn't make sense because your projects are embedded either in Vietnam, Indonesia or Nepal. We do have a new studentship for Vietnamese students that's called the Pioneer Studentship, where you would spend extended lengths of time at Oxford. So it would be 2 trips of 6 months. So, and that's very much dependent on the type of project. So some projects which require additional supervision in Oxford does allow you to travel for that slightly longer time. But as I said, it's quite flexible depending on the project. The next question. Has OUCRU or its partner universities previously addressed the question of Vietnamese degree recognition for graduates who return to work in Vietnam? Now, unfortunately, this is an ongoing issue. It's no argument that our OUCRU PhD degrees are of very, very high quality. We have students who are working across the world with their degrees recognised. There is still an issue for those who want to come back to do a professorship or work within the Vietnamese government system, that because of the way in which we deliver our programme, it is quite difficult to get recognition of your PhD. So I know that the law is changing, or it looks like it's being adapted. We don't know what that means for us at the moment, whether that's going to be helpful or not. But unfortunately, we cannot guarantee. At this stage, we cannot guarantee for those of you who are from Vietnam and want to continue your career in Vietnam, we cannot guarantee recognition of our international PhDs. That said, we do have a local PhD programme. If you're a collaborator or you're already working at OUCRU, we do have a local PhD programme where we can support tuition at a local university. So that kind of covers question 2 and 3. Are there any formal agreements? At the moment, no, there aren't, because we're not an educational institute in Vietnam. So it does make things a little bit complicated. But as I said, the quality of our degrees is really not up for question. We have researchers conducting fantastic work still in OUCRU and in our partner hospitals. But yes, within the local system, we do have a problem with recognition at the moment. So I'm not going to dance around that issue. It is an issue. Do we have any other questions, Kim? Can we scroll down? Is there any age limit for applying for PhD in OUCRU? Absolutely not. We have a completely open, transparent, equitable and inclusive hiring policy. So no, your age is not a limitation. If your degree is in an animal health science field, is it possible to apply for a PhD? Absolutely it is. We do have people with degrees in animal science. If you were applying for, say, a PhD in the zoonosis team or even in another team where it was related, then we could consider that. Okay. If I were to propose my own project idea, can it connect an infectious disease to another non-infectious disease? Yes, you can propose that. We cannot guarantee that a supervisor would be 100. It would depend on the supervisor, whether they're willing to support. But the good thing about PhDs, international PhDs, is that it's never just one supervisor in your team. It's always a team of supervisors. So maybe you know of a supervisor who could lead the expertise for the non-infectious disease part. Then maybe that would be a great opportunity to have a collaborative project with one of our scientists. So it would definitely be something that could be up for discussion. Yes. Given that community engagement and health communication are part of several research themes, I wonder if there's a chance there'll be a community engagement as its own distinct theme, or will it embed into another? It could be either. We do have PhD students within the public and community engagement team conducting their research. And then equally, we do have PhD students in other research themes who are doing aspects of public and community engagement and actually have supervision from across different groups. So yes, the answer to that, there is an opportunity for a distinct theme or embedding within another theme. Someone else with their own project idea, absolutely reach out to the relevant team. So if you had an idea for a project on zoonotic tuberculosis, which is a very good example, you could reach out to the zoonosis team and the TB team and see if you can come up with a project together. Yes, good question. I'm a 45-year-old pharmacist with wet lab experience, currently completing a master's in data science at Liverpool John Moores, graduating this year. Research focus on AI, machine learning, specifically time series forecasting. Wow, really interesting topics there across a number of our teams. So how does the OUCRU Oxford Admissions Committee evaluate a UK master's degree completed via distance learning? So it's absolutely acceptable to have a distance learning master's. You should also submit the evidence of your undergraduate degree because it's taken in combination, okay? So in terms of entry, there is nothing to say that your UK master's degree, although it was completed by distance learning, is an issue. It would also be looked at in combination with your undergraduate. So yes, you can absolutely still apply. Mid-career transmission. What are the scholarship or collaboration mechanisms for experienced researchers? And does OUCRU view extensive field expertise as a strategic advantage that outweighs age-related considerations? Again, your age is absolutely not taken into account. We are an equal opportunities employer. That means the age is not relevant. It's not relevant to our scholarships, and it's not relevant to Oxford registration or Open University registration, and it's not relevant to us as an employer. Okay, the scholarships that are open to you are exactly the same as scholarships of, I'm saying younger people, but you're the same age as me. So yeah, go you for looking at educational opportunities. Okay, so any more? Also, I would sort of cycle back to the field experience. There's opportunity to describe that in the application process. So you should absolutely include any research experience that you already have. if you've been involved in delivering teaching or writing papers or presenting at conferences, if there's any other training you've done beyond a degree, like if you've done extra training courses, there's places in the application form, which is all taken control of by our Oxford partners, that will ask about this. And all of this is taken into account. It's not just your bachelor's and master's qualification. Okay. All right, let me have a quick look. There was some things popping up in the chat, so let me play catch up. For the application, is GRE score required? They will ask for that, or they will ask for your level of degree. The other thing that they will ask for is evidence of English language competency. So they'll be looking for an IELTS test or a CELTA or equivalent. If you have had a lot of experience in an English-speaking country, or you've conducted your previous qualifications in an English-speaking country, you can submit or explain that. You can write a narrative around that, and it is possible that Oxford may grant you a waiver. Okay. I can see Chi is saying that she needs to run to another meeting at 4. Thank you so much, Chi. We're closing up anyway, but thank you. Dila, for the application, is there any fee? So for LMIC candidates, there is a list of countries where you can get a fee waiver. And there's more information about that on the Oxford webpage. Okay. Otherwise, there is a fee if you aren't a national of one of those countries, but you can check that out. Lots of good questions, and I know there was a lot of questions being answered throughout the meeting today, so thank you very much to Kim for answering a lot of those questions already as they were coming in. And of course, even though we're ending up today, you can reach out to us. I'm just going to go back to my slide deck just to make sure that you have the contact details. So we have a very, very complete website where you can learn more about all of our research teams. Under the study tab, you can also learn more about our PhD scheme. There's also a link there to our partners at Oxford. And around about September, as I already said, we will have new research projects popping up on that page for you to apply for. You can also follow us on Facebook and Blue Sky. So we often post about what's going on at OUCRU. Otherwise, thank you for joining us today. You will see a final QR code on the screen. If you do have some time to provide some feedback on our open day, that would be much appreciated. So please do scan and let us know how you enjoyed today or how we can improve future events. If you want to reach out to us, then you can email us at training@oucru.org, and myself and Kim are both on that email address. We'll be able to pick up your query. And of course, huge thank you to all of our speakers today for taking the time to share their research with you. And finally, good luck to all of you prospective PhD candidates on the call. Good luck in your PhD journey, and we hope to see you at OUCRU soon. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Lee.
You're all very welcome.